Good morning, good morning. It is 11:40 a.m., April the 10th, 2025. Again, it is 11:40 a.m., April the 10th, 2025. Today's discussion is going to be another biblical truths and misconception discussion. And we're going to be coming out of Malachi chapter 3. I will be using the English Standard Version. And we're going to be discussing tithing. We're going to be discussing tithing. And we're going to get a biblical understanding as to what is being said in Malachi chapter 3 when it referenced robbing the Most High of his tithe and his offering. And in order to get that understanding, we have to read all of Malachi to get to the understanding of what is being the topic of today's discussion. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and start. I apologize. I hope I don't have any issues today, y'all. So here we go. We're going to be starting. Verse 1, it says, "Behold, I send my messenger, and he will prepare the way before me. And the Most High whom you seek will suddenly come to his temple. And the messenger of the covenant in whom you delight, behold, he is coming, says the Most High of hosts. But who can endure the day of his coming? And who can stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like fuller's soap. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver, and he will purify the sons of Levi, and refine them like gold and silver. And they will bring offerings in righteousness to the Most High. This is the restoration of the priesthood that was given to the Levites. They will again rise and go back to doing what they were ordained to do, or what they were called to do, and that is to minister to Yasharel. Then the offering of Judah and Jerusalem will be pleasing to the Most High as in the days of old, and as in former years. Note that this is an offering that will be presented at a later time, one that is future. That is a future time, and we can see this because it says, as in the days of old and as in former years. Therefore, know that this will happen at a future time. That's also speaking to the fact that the laws still stand. It is important. We will see this continuously be a theme. And let me also add in there that Malachi is a prophet. So what we're seeing here, what we're reading here, Malachi is speaking it, but it's the Most High using Malachi to speak to Yasharel, right? He's letting them know beforehand, this is what's going to happen. So verse 5, "Then I will draw near to you for judgment." So the Most High is telling them about the timeline of the end days. He's telling them about the timeline leading up to the very end. Like not so many thousands of years before, but like literally towards the end, like the last few years before the end, I would say no more than 10 years or less, right? He is saying, this is my guesstimate, so don't hold me to that 10-year time frame. That's my guesstimate, but I'm just giving you somewhat of a timeline. So, but we will see another timeline unfolding within the scripture as we continue on, right? So let me read verse 5 again. "Then I will draw near to you for judgment." When is the day of judgment? The day of judgment is the end of this world, right? Therefore, confirming that offerings from Judah and Jerusalem will still be a thing that the Most High will be pleased with from his chosen people during or in the last days. So we see that Judah and Jerusalem will be offering a righteous offering to the Most High. So therefore, that is a part of keeping his laws. So for people who consistently say and still believe that the laws are done away with, here we have a prophet telling Israel, Yasharel, about what the Most High is going to do by restoring the Levites back to their right place as the priests, right? As the priests. And so in the process of them being restored to their right place as the priesthood to Yasharel, also what would be restored would be the righteous offering. Because right now you might have some people offering some things to the Most High, but they're not pleasing to Him because they're not righteous. There's a certain order that things are supposed to flow through or operate under, right? So if you're out of order, then it's not pleasing to the Most High. So you're pretty much doing it for nothing. So returning back to 5, and it says, and I will be swift. This is the Most High talking now. I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, against the adulterers, against those who swear falsely, against those who oppress the hired worker in his wages, those who oppress the widow, those who also oppress the fatherless, against those who thrust aside the sojourner or the immigrants, and do not fear me. Also those who do not fear me, says Yahuwah of hosts. What is being said here? What is being said here? Yahuwah is talking about his law and his prophets. How those who are lawless will be swiftly judged. How do we know he is talking about the law and the prophets? Because every act or every person whom he mentioned that will be judged has broken or gone against his law or instruction. His law teaches against doing these things. Here are some scriptures pertaining to the laws that are directly linked to what is being said in the above verses that prove that his law still stands. And it's going to be quite a few verses. So if you all want to get a pen and paper and jot this down, it is going to be Leviticus chapter 19. Leviticus chapter 19. And it's going to be verses 13, 15, 21, 31, 33, and then you're going to go to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 17. These are some of the scriptures to compare to what was just said in verse 5 about the people who he's going to come up against. This right here gives you some understanding as to why he's going to come up against them, right? Because he has instructed us not to do these things. We understand that his laws are instructions on how to live, how to govern ourselves, how to be righteous. Righteous meaning to be just, to be right, to be correct, and to be lawful. Did you know that the definition of righteous was to be lawful? That's something that I just learned earlier today. I just learned that was part of the definition of righteous, which goes back to, like I say all the time, trying to encourage you all to look up words that you are familiar with, but make it a habit of looking them up anyway so you can get the full understanding of what the definition is. So if I wouldn't have looked that up, I would not have known that righteousness was to be lawful. Lawful meaning to be acceptable and or full of the law. We understand that the suffix full, F-U-L, means that whatever word that is attached to, it means that you are full of that action word. So for someone to be lawful, they have to be full of the law, right? They have to be full of the law. So we have an example. I want to bring this example to the table of someone who was counted righteous. And this is going to be an example that a lot of us may not even pay attention to, right? So the example was Abraham in Romans chapter 4, verse 3. For what said the scripture, Abraham believed the Most High and was counted unto him for righteousness. What was counted unto him as righteousness was his trust in what Yahuwah instructed him to do. So we see he had faith in Yahuwah's ability to guide him properly, and he obeyed whatever Yahuwah told him to do. He listened and he followed his instructions, his law. So even though Abraham didn't have a law written on stone like our people had in the wilderness when Moses went up to the mountain, and the Most High created the Ten Commandments. Even though Abraham didn't have anything written in stone, we understand and we know that Abraham had a direct connection to the Most High, where the Most High spoke to him directly, just like the Most High spoke to Moses directly. So in the process of the Most High speaking to Abraham directly, he was instructing Abraham on what to do. And Abraham chose to follow his instructions. So therefore his instructions became law to Abraham. So that is where we see, and I would say the first law given, but that would be a lie, because the first law given was to Adam and Eve. They received the first law, which was not to eat of the tree, right? So, not to get too far off topic. Faith without works is dead. We have got to understand that faith without works is dead. Works being evident in your actions to do as instructed. Some of us believe that the only laws ever given was passed down through Moses to Yasharel. However, Yahuwah has been instructing or setting laws upon man ever since the creation of man. This is what the Most High says in verse 6. For I, Yahuwah, do not change. He do not change. Therefore, O children of Jacob, are not consumed. O children of Jacob, you are not consumed, because I do not change. Hear that. I need us to hear that. He does not change. Now, I need y'all to be reminded. We are in the book of Malachi, chapter 3. This is a prophet, and he's prophesying about the end times. This is the Most High speaking through him, and he's saying, I change not. I change not. So now he's giving us a reference point. He's talking about how he changed not, and we're at the end. So just think about all of the things that has happened from the beginning of time to now. And he said he changed not. So we got to understand that he stays the same in order to keep us alive. He stays the same in order to keep us alive. He does not change, nor does his word change. He does not change, nor does his word change. We are talking about his laws and his judgment upon those who broke or break his laws, those who ignore prophecy and or reject the prophets. So let's listen again. The Most High says in verse 7. From the days of your fathers, you have turned aside from my statutes and have not kept them. From the days of your fathers. And he's not talking about your direct father per se. He's included, but he's talking about our ancient fathers. Because we have to understand that this covenant is an ancient covenant that has happened long time ago. So this is an ancient covenant. So he's referring to the ancient covenant. He's talking about even back when in Moses' time, right? He said, from the days of your fathers, you have turned aside from my statutes and have not kept them. Remember when our fathers was in the wilderness, they instantly started doing what they learned in Egypt by creating the golden cow to worship it. And ever since then, our people seem to always wondered or strayed away from obeying these simple instructions on how to live together in peace, how to keep Yahuwah's hand of protection over us, and how to be holy. Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember in Moses' time, the 10 Commandments, watching the movie, how as soon as they was freed and in the wilderness, instantly they started creating this fake God and worshiping the fake God? I know y'all remember that. Aren't we still doing this today? Aren't we still honoring all kinds of different ideas when it comes to manifesting blessings, or when it comes to saging our houses and honoring all these false gods and all these different terminologies that we grab a hold on to, and all of these different practices that now we incorporate in our life, trying to get some type of connection to the Most High, or trying to tap into some type of spiritual realm that is going to give us blessings, that's going to pour into our lives the things that we think we really need in this world. That's what we do. We do it today. We're still doing it today. People are preaching and teaching against the law. Still in today's time. We're preaching and teaching against the law. Our forefathers kicked against it. They ignored it. They rejected it. And we're still doing the same today, right? Saying that it's done away with. We don't have to keep the law. The law was just for the Jews. They have absolutely no idea what they speak when they say stuff. They're just trying to deflect and project. That's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to throw information out there to take the responsibility off of themselves. They do not know what they speak. They do not know what they speak. Do they not know that most of us are those so-called Jews? Most of us are those so-called Jews that they say the laws were given to. That's a little history insert that I'm going to give you real quick, right? Okay, I done lost my spot. Forgive me. Yeah, Jews are those who come from Judah. So either way, we have to keep the laws. Jews are those who come from the southern tribe of Judah, right? And so either way, we have to keep the laws. But of course, they say these things to try to project the topic to someone else, to attempt to avoid responsibility. And furthermore, the laws were not only given to the so-called Jews, but to Yasharel as a whole. To Yasharel as a whole. Remember, Judah is only the southern kingdom, and they were the only ones referred to as Jews, which was originally the word brew, shortened for Hebrew. But words have a tendency to change over time, right? We've talked about this before. So let's read verse 7 again. From the days of your fathers, you have turned aside from my statutes and have not kept them. Return to me, and I will return to you, says the Most High of Hosts. But you say, how shall we return? Why are they asking, how shall they return? Because we have been taught some form of religion, and all forms of religion have their own beliefs when it comes to being connected to the Most High. Therefore, they are confused. We are confused because we thought that we had already turned to him, right? We thought we had already turned to him. And then he says, will man rob the Most High? Will man rob the Most High? Will a man defraud the Most High? The Most High says, yet you are robbing me. Indeed, you have taken property unlawfully from me. Listen to that terminology. Indeed, you have taken property unlawfully from me, says the Most High. You have taken property unlawfully from me. But you say, how have we robbed you? How have we robbed you? And he says, in your tithes and contributions, in your tithes and in your offerings. And then he says, you are cursed with a curse, for you are robbing me, the whole nation of you. Let's get some understanding to what is being said. The answer is right in our faces. So let's recap. What has been the topic thus far? What has been the topic thus far? Breaking the law, not listening to Yahuwah's instructions on how to live a just life, a righteous life, a correct life, a lawful life. Right? That's what the topic has been thus far. So now we have to get an understanding of what are the consequences of not following his instructions for the righteous life, for a righteous life. We can find most of this in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15 through 68 for further understanding. As you can see, that's a lot. So I'm not going to read all of that, right? But I want to encourage you all to read that so that you can get some understanding as to the consequences behind choosing to be cursed, because it was ultimately a choice. It truly was a choice. It was a choice. The Most High said, I set before you today blessings and curses. And he told them, I choose life or choose death. So they chose constantly to be cursed. In this chapter, we, Yasharel that is, are giving very specific details about how to be blessed and how to be cursed. Our people decided time and time again to be cursed consistently throughout the generations, throughout the centuries, throughout the millennia. They consistently chose to be cursed. Thus, if we are cursed, so is everything that was given to us as a blessing is cursed as well, to include the promised land and our livestock. We also find this in this chapter, right? We also find this in this chapter. So now we have to bridge the gap to get an understanding of what tithing and offerings have to do with this conversation. So let's dig a little deeper, right? We have to do some research because we want to bridge the gap to get an understanding of what tithing and offerings have to do with this conversation. First, we need to know what is a tithe and an offering. So to get that understanding, let's go to Leviticus chapter 27. And we're going to read verse 30. And it says, "In all the tithe of the land," listen now, "in all the tithe of the land, whether of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree, is Yahuwah's. It is holy unto Yahuwah." It is holy to who? Yahuwah. What is it? The seed of the land or the fruit of the tree? It is Yahuwah's. It is holy unto Yahuwah. Now we're going to go to verse 32. And concerning the tithe, it says, "And concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the tenth shall be holy unto Yahuwah." What shall be holy unto Yahuwah? The herd or the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod. The tenth shall be holy unto Yahuwah. Numbers 18, chapter 18, verse 26. "Thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when you take of the children of Yasharel the tithes, which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then you shall offer up and heave offering of it for the Most High, even a tenth part of the tithe." So as we put all three of these scriptures together, we can see that a tenth or a tithe is a tenth of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree of the herd or of the flock whatsoever passeth under the rod, and it shall be given from Yasharel to the priests, the Levites, only as an inheritance to them, and they should take a tenth or a tithe of that and offer up a heave offering to Yahuwah. So I need y'all to get this, right? I need for us to get this. So I want to go back up because I feel like I read that kind of fast. So I want to go back up real quick. And I really want to point out, because like I said, I feel like I read that really quickly. So we're going to go back up. Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 30. And it says, "And all the tithe of the land, whether of the seed of the land or of the fruit of the tree, is Yahuwah's. It is holy unto Yahuwah." We're talking about seed of the land. We're talking about the fruit of the trees. We're also saying, or we understand, that all of this belongs to the Most High. It's holy to him. It's set apart to him. We're supposed to set apart a tenth of those things for him. And then we go down to verse 32, and it says, "And concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the tenth shall be holy unto Yahuwah." Then we're going to go to Numbers 18, verse 26. "Thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when you take of the children of Yasharel the tithes, which I have given you from them for your inheritance." So the tithe belongs to the Levites as an inheritance. As an inheritance. Then you shall offer up a heave offering of it for Yahuwah, even a tenth part of the tithe. So now we see the tithe and we see an offering, and they're both being done with the Levites. The Levites take in the tithe, and then they take a portion of the tithe, a tenth portion of that, and they offer it up to Yahuwah as an offering, a heave offering. So do y'all see that connection there? So as we put all three of these scriptures together, we can see that a tithe is a tenth of the seed of the land, or of the fruit of the tree of the herd or the flock, whatsoever passeth under the rod, and it shall be given from Yasharel to the priests, the Levites only, as an inheritance to them, and they should then take a tenth or a tithe of that and offer up a heave offering to Yahuwah. So what have we been discussing throughout this lesson thus far? Judgment, or the consequences upon those who broke the law. Also, don't forget that in verses 3 and 4, Yahuwah tells us that the sons of Levi will be refined and purified so that they can go back to offering righteous offerings to Yahuwah from Judah and Jerusalem. This has not happened yet. This has not happened yet. This has not happened yet. None of this has happened yet. So, it has been prophesied to happen, but it has not happened yet. As we all know, Yasharel also broke the law, thus leaving us cursed with a curse, right? Thus leaving us cursed with a curse, which then caused us, and when I say Yasharel also broke the law, we broke the law. We were the ones breaking the law from the beginning, so I don't know why I put in there also broke the law. The whole time it was talking about us. So I don't know why I used that word also there. There was an oversight on my behalf. So I don't want anybody to get confused with that word. It shouldn't have not been in there. Should not have been in there. So ignore that word also. I'm glad I just caught that. Where am I at? We broke the law, thus leaving us cursed with a curse, which then caused us to rob Yahuwah's tithes and offering, because as a cursed nation, we were kicked out of our land, and the land was also cursed with the inability to produce vegetation, fruit trees, and our herds and our livestock was taken from us. Without our land, and this is what we need to get, without our land and the increase from it, we took from Yahuwah without his permission. We took from him without his permission. So whenever you take something from someone without their permission, that is called stealing. That is called robbing, right? So that is how we robbed him, because we took from him. Instead of us choosing to be blessed so that we can bless him, we chose to be cursed. And because we chose to be cursed, our land was cursed, our livestock was cursed. And guess what? Now, ultimately, we took something from him that he was expecting to gain from having this relationship with us, right? We took something from him. According to Deuteronomy chapter 28 verses, there's going to be a lot of verses. So for anyone who wants to take notes, again, grab your pen and your paper. It's going to be a lot of verses, and I'm not reading them. According to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15, verses 17 through 18, verse 21, verse 24, verse 30 and 31, verse 33, verse 38 through 40, verse 42, verse 45, verse 51 through 52, and verse 63. And I'm going to give y'all those again. You can find this understanding about our land being cursed and our livestock being cursed in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 15, verse 17 through 18, verse 21, verse 24, verse 30 and 31, verse 33, verse 38 through 40, verse 42, verse 45, verse 51 through 52, and 63. Therefore, we robbed him in the tithe and offerings, not in money. Tithe and offering was never about money because money was of the world and had very little use within the nation of Yasharel. Yasharel did not operate off of money, even though money was something that they had access to. Money was not the governing thing. It wasn't something that they used often. It wasn't something that we used often to live off of. We didn't have much need for money. It was food. It was resources. It was animals. It was things that you live off of, things you use to make clothing, things that you, seeds that you use to grow crops. It was things of that nature. So tithe was never about money, right? Never about money. So note, when your pastor or a minister use this verse to justify making you feel ashamed for not wanting to tithe to the church or give an offering to the church, that number one, I should say this. I didn't make this number one, but I'm going to throw it in now. Number one, you shouldn't be in that church. You shouldn't be in a ministry. You shouldn't be in church, right? That's number one. I should have put that down, but I didn't. It's coming to me now. Number two, your pastor is an ordained Christian minister, not a chosen son of Levi. She is not a Levite, right? They are not a Levite. So therefore, they have no authority to collect tithes. Not from the Most High, they don't. They do not have the authority from the Most High to collect tithes. That's number two. Number three, your church is recognized as a Christian institution or a Christian business. It is not Yasharel. Your church body is not the nation of Yasharel. They are not the bloodline descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are not Yasharel. So your pastor is not a Levite, and the congregation is not Yasharel. None of them are authorized to ask for tithe under the guise of the Most High has ordained it to be so. And none of those the members, are obligated to give under the guise that the Most High is authorizing and calling them to do so. Understand this, right? Number three, this misuse of scripture to manipulate you. I'm sorry, I miscounted. Number four, this misuse of scripture to manipulate you to give is a form of sorcery, witchcraft, right? Manipulation is a source of sorcery, which is a form of witchcraft. That is, and this is why, that don't make sense. Excuse me. I catch myself sometimes when I'm reading, so forgive me. Witchcraft, that is, and this is why we have been instructed by Yahuwah to come out of these places. This is why we've been called to come out of these places. Do you see how the whole nation was or has robbed the Most High in tithe and offerings? Do you see how we were cursed? The answer has been in our faces the whole time. We robbed the Most High through tithe and offerings because we were cursed with a curse. With us being cursed, our land was cursed, our livestock was cursed. The things that we were using, the things that we were supposed to use for tithe and offering, they were cursed. So as long as we're still under the curse, those things are also under the curse. So therefore, tithing and offering was null and void for that time. For that duration, our tithing and our offering was being withheld. So as long as it was being withheld, we was taking something from the Most High. We was keeping something from him that he should have been able to get if we would have chosen to be blessed. But we kept choosing to be cursed. We kept choosing to be cursed. We were cursed, thus making it impossible to present a righteous tithe and offering to him. So we really need to get this. So now, here in this chapter, we see the Most High restoring the Levites so that they can offer a righteous offering from Judah and Jerusalem. He is instructing us in verse 10, and let's read that, to bring the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in his house. He is instructing us, but this is after. This is not currently. This is not currently. So currently, you cannot sow a tithe. Now, I know some of y'all gonna kick against that because, like I said, y'all kick against everything. Some people kick against everything that goes against their religious beliefs, that goes against their indoctrinated beliefs. They kick against what the word of the Most High say compared to what they believe, what they've been taught, what they have accepted to be true, right? So it says in verse 10, bring the full tithe into the storehouse that there may be food in my house. What are we talking about here? We're talking about once the Levites have been restored and refined and purified to the point where they are now able to offer a righteous offering from Judah and Jerusalem to the Most High. And that righteous offering comes to them in the form of a tithe. And then they take a tenth of that and they do a sheave offering to Yahuwah. So this is what he's talking about. He's telling them to bring the full tithe into the storehouse that there may be food in his house. Again, tithe has always been food, people. It's always been food. It's always been livestock, animals, vegetations, vegetables, fruits, herbs, things of that nature. His house is not the church. His house is not the church. It is the house of Levi, the royal priesthood, chosen by Yahuwah himself and not ordained by man. His house is not something that has to be ordained by some type of ministry or some type of seminary or some type of bishop or overseer or some type of program that someone enrolled in for a certain amount of time and then they graduated and then they're considered ordained through a ceremonial process. That's not how this thing works. The Most High has things placed in a certain order. And if we go outside of that order, then everything is out of order. Everything within the churches is out of order. I've been telling you all this for some time now. Everything within the churches is out of order. Everything. See how this makes sense? Can you see how it makes sense that he's asking for the full tithe to be brought into his house? To bring the full tithe into the storehouse that there may be food in his house. Do we see how this is making sense now? You know? So moving on. And therefore put me to the test. So then he's saying, and y'all, we need to keep in mind that this is something that's supposed to happen after the Levites are refined and purified. And things are being restored to the way it was originally, right? So keep this in mind. And therefore, he say, put me to test, says Yahuwah of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you a blessing until there is no more need. Like the Most High is saying after Yahushua comes and clean up the Levites and they offer a righteous tithe and offering from you, Yasharel, from us. He say, try me and see if I am not a man that I shall lie, and I will open the windows of heaven for you and pour down upon you a blessing too big for you to even receive it all. Too big for you to even receive it all. Has any of you in the church, and I know I can testify to this for myself, has any of you in the church, in Christianity, have you ever seen a blessing like this from you paying your so-called tithes and offerings to the church? I can answer for you. No. Not none of y'all that I'm connected to include myself. Not at all. Not now one of us that I'm connected with. Even though a lot of us claim to be so rich and not in need of anything, right? A lot of us claim to be blessed and highly favored, and we don't lack anything until when you lose your job. Until when you lose your job, and then you find yourself in need of what? Another job. Another job. He didn't say he was going to bless you with a job. He said he was going to bless you so well that it will be in an abundance to the point where you don't have anywhere to store it. You would not have a need for anything. We don't see this happening because the time has not come. The time has not come yet, right? So this is a prophecy for future time. We haven't gotten to that point yet. So for people who say, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored, I pay my tithes, and you can say what you want, I'm going to pay my tithes, please continue to give the people your money. Continue to participate in the churches if that's what you choose to do. I'm just here to educate you all. I'm here to educate you on the truth. But at the end of the day, the choice is yours. What you're going to do. Are you going to leave your ministries to follow the Most High's word? Or are you going to stay in these ministries to follow your heart? And we know about the heart. The heart is wicked above all things. Who shall know it? Only the Most High knows your heart. I digress. I digress. So now we're going to go to verse 11. And he says, I will rebuke the devourer for you, so that it will not destroy the fruits of your soil, and your vine in the field shall not fail to bear, says Yahuwah of hosts. I need us to get this. I need for us to get this. He said, I will rebuke, I can't talk now, excuse me. I will rebuke the devourer for you, so that it will not destroy the fruits of your soil, and your vine in the field shall not fail to bear, says Yahuwah of hosts. This is how much he wants us to be blessed, that he is saying that he will make sure our crops do well, so that we can tithe and contribute righteously, so that he can open up that window and pour upon us a blessing in abundance. He wants us to be blessed. He wants us to be beyond blessed. So much so that he's saying, look, I expect for y'all to bring into my storehouse, the righteous tithe to the full. Bring me the tithe to my storehouse so it can be food in my storehouse. Bring it to me. Some people might be like, okay, well, we're going to try. We're going to try to bring it to you. And he's like, you ain't got to worry about trying, because I'm going to make sure that your crops produce well. I'm going to make sure that anything that comes up against your crops don't prosper. I'm going to make sure that you have an abundance in vegetables and fruit trees and your herd and your livestock. I'm going to make sure everything flourishes. Don't worry about that. And he's doing it because he wants us to be blessed. He wants us to be prosperous in his way, not in the worldly way, not in our own ways. He wants us to do it according to his written word, according to the word that was given to us, right? So it's like, how can you lose? How can you lose with this? How can you lose? The only thing he's telling you to do is go out there and farm the land. Produce your own food. I mean, in the climate that we live now, that's not really a bad idea. Considering all the stuff that they're putting in our food, considering all of the chemicals that they're putting in our food, considering the fact that a lot of us who don't eat pork are constantly finding stuff that you wouldn't think pork would be in, but come to find out they're hiding pork and stuff under the guise of these big words that you wouldn't think would measure up to actually equaling to pork. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So it's like, wouldn't it be a great idea for you to raise your own food? You know what you're feeding it. You know what you're putting in it. You know what you're using to make it grow. I would prefer to grow my own food. I mean, truth be told, I do. For some of it. Not all, but I should be doing all. But Yeah, another story for another day. Excuse me. Where am I at? And it says, I'm going to go back to 11. I will rebuke the devourer for you, so that it will not destroy the fruits of your soil. And your vine in the field shall not fail to bear, says Yahuwah of hosts. Then all nations will call you blessed, for you will be a land of delight, says Yahuwah of hosts. Your words have been hard. Before I even go to 13, let's just tap into verse 12 real quick. Then all nations will call you blessed, for you will be a land of delight, says Yahuwah of hosts. We're going to be returning back to our land. We're going to be returning back to our land. A second Exodus is on its way. A second Exodus is on its way. So knowing that we will be returning to our land, and all the nations that will be left standing at that time, because trust me, before we get back into our land, a lot's going to take place. Armageddon has to happen, right? A lot is going to take place. Babylon has to fall. So there's going to be some nations that are no longer standing. So the nations that will be still standing, they will call us blessed. They will see us being protected and carried out of wherever we are, because we're scattered everywhere, and regathered to Africa. I know some of y'all don't agree with that. That's another story for another day as well. So now we're going to go to verse 13. Your words have been hard against me, says Yahuwah. Now, I thought we was doing good. So why are our words hard against him? Because I thought we was at a good point at this time. I mean, we're in our land. We're prospering. You know, our crops are growing. We're now tithing and offering. The Levites have been restored. I thought things was going well. But our people, we're so stiff-necked and so brainwashed, and still consumed with consumerism, and so consumed with worldly things, ideas, thoughts, feelings, desires. It is ridiculous. So what is going on where we have words that's hard against him? What's going on? And he says, but you say, how have we spoken against you? How have we spoken against you? And I'm just wild because we still don't get it. After all of this, now this is the timeline, right? This is where the timeline comes in at. Because we have to understand, at this point in time, we have been taken out of these different countries, out of these different nations that we're in, and we're currently living in the wilderness. Right? And we're living in peace at this time, right? Now, this is not something that you're going to read in this chapter. This is throughout other prophets, So we're currently living in peace. We see that the Most High's hand is on us. We are growing and prospering like crazy. Blessings are being rained down on us. We don't have enough room to keep it. You would think we would be happy. You would think we would be satisfied. But no. We will not be satisfied, because we're still complaining. We're still whining. We're still murmuring. We're still not happy. We're just not content. We're not satisfied. We want more. It's always been like that. It's always been a group of us who just don't appreciate what the Most High is doing for us. We can't see the forest for the trees. It's just ridiculous, right? So this is us after the second Exodus in the wilderness, by the way. I just said all of that. So, and we're not at the judgment day just yet, but we are close. Because remember, he said that the judgment is coming near. The judgment is coming near, but it hasn't come yet, right? So this is the timeline. So we're real close to the judgment day. And our people are, like I said, we have been regathered at this point. Verse 14, you have said, talking to us, and the Most High is talking to them. Get this. You have said, it is vain to serve the Most High. It don't profit us nothing to serve the Most High. What? How it don't profit us to serve him? You don't see all this abundance? You don't see that he brought you out of all the chaos? You don't see that he spared your life from being unalive when all these other nations fail? You don't see that? You don't recognize that? So it's vain. That is a hard word against him. So I'm in agreement with the Most High right now. That is a hard word against him to say that serving him is vain. Like, really? Really? What is the profit of our keeping his charge, or of walking as in mourning before Yahuwah of hosts? Like, So we're still confused. We still don't understand the importance of keeping his law. We still don't understand. We still don't get it. We still don't get it. We still don't get that keeping his law is important. We still don't understand that everything that has happened, that we've witnessed, and that we were able to go through and experience up to this point was to bring us back to him on right standing, on solid ground. It was all to get us to be in alignment with him. It was all to correct us and to bring us near to him, and to understand that not only is he still here with us, but he's fighting for us. He's rooting for us. All of this is for his relationship with us. And we still questioning the fact that he wants us to live according to his instructions. Yeah, that's a hard word. That's a hard word against him. It's really something. We still don't see the importance of keeping his laws or being humble. We still don't see it. Not having respect enough to understand all of what has happened up to this point has been to restore us back to him in righteousness. That is really something. But that's what some of us are going to do. Some of us is going to have that mindset. Some of us going to have that mindset. Verse 15 tells us differently, right? It tells us, and now we call, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself, not verse 15. I apologize. Verse 15, and now we call the arrogant blessed. So those same people who was complaining, the same people who don't recognize what all that the Most High is doing for us, they call the arrogant people blessed. The evildoers not only prosper, they say, but they put the Most High to test as well, and they escape. So they're saying the Most High wants us to do all of this stuff. So I'm going to paraphrase it. I'm going to put it in my own words, right? Hopefully it'll make a little more, it'll hit home. So the Most High wants us to live according to his ways. And he wants us to jump hoops and do all of this and do all that to receive what he's given us. And I can do this on my own because, look, them guys over there, they got the same stuff we got. They got the same stuff we got. They've been testing the Most High and they've been blessed. And they got the same stuff as we got. And they escape his judgment. They also escape his judgment. So now they're comparing themselves to the other nations again. Hasn't that been a problem from Yasharel for a long time? We always look at other nations, other groups of people, and we compare what they got, what they're doing, and we look at our lives and we think that our lives are less or are equal to what everybody else got. So therefore now, oh, we so big-headed and puffed up, we don't need the Most High because we can do it on our own. We can do it on our own because they're doing it on their own. They don't have the Most High on their side and they're doing it their way. I prefer to do it their way because guess what? Their way seems funner. They get to do it however they want to do it. And they still get to be prosperous. And they still are alive. I'm just like, I'm mind blown. I'm mind blown because this is what's going to happen. This is going to be the mindset of some of our people. Even once we have gone through the second Exodus and the Most High has regathered us and has taken us back to our homeland. Some people don't like Africa. Some people don't think that that's where we come from. Some people are against going, oh, I don't want to go to that place. It's all dirty. It's all this. Like, they have a misconception of what Africa is like based off of what the Europeans decided to show us about it. And so when they go over there, they're going to have that same mindset that they're too good. I'm an American. I'm an American. And even though at that time America won't be standing, I'm an American, but they're still going to be proud. Floating that fake flag. Someone might have a real one. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. So it's just like, really? Really? You want to pass up all of what the Most High is giving you. Royalty. And it's not about the things. So forgive me if it sounds like I'm talking about the things. But it's just I'm comparing what he is offering us versus what we're looking at other nations and thinking that they have it better. They either have it better than us, or they have it the same as us in some people's minds. And that's how they're going to be comparing it. That's how they're going to be comparing it. And it's just like, really? Really? You pass up being royalty? You pass up being completely protected? Completely provided for? You pass up not having to do as much to go out here and have to do even more? You pass up not being royalty for being a peasant? Because guess what? At the end of the day, they still don't look at you with respect. They still gonna hate you. So it's just like, wow, you want to give up all of what he's offering us to be classified as one of them. Okay. Oh, okay. That makes no sense to me, but to somebody, it's gonna make a lot of sense to them, because these are the ones who he's talking about. These are the ones who he's talking about. Okay, so let's move on. So now verse 16, it tells us that even though we have some who think like that, and who are going to be speaking against the Most High, there's going to be some who are going to fear the Most High. Then those who fear Yahuwah spoke with one another. They're speaking amongst one another. They're learning. They're testifying. They're rejoicing. They're just having a conversation about Yahuwah. And Yahuwah paid attention and he heard them. He paid attention and he heard them. And I'm pretty sure it warmed his heart to know, you know what? In the midst of all of this right here, I still got some in there that still respect me, who still love me, who still honor me, who still keep my laws and my commandments and my statutes as I have told them. And guess what? A book of remembrance was written before him of those who feared Yahuwah and esteemed his name. A book of remembrance. That's important. That is important to be written in the book of life. But this right here is the book of remembrance. Because we remembered him, he's remembering us. And what does he say? He say, they shall be mine. They shall be mine, says Yahuwah of hosts, in the day when I make up my treasured possession. He's going to do what? They're going to be mine, says Yahuwah of hosts, in the day when I make up my treasured possession. And I will spare them as a man spares his son who serves him. Then once more you shall see the distinction between the righteous and the wicked, between one who serves Yahuwah and the one who does not serve him. So this is going to be our last and final opportunity to see the Most High remove the tares from the wheat. This is going to be our last opportunity for us to see the Most High separate those who are his from those who are not. Because at first when he called in Yasharel as a whole, we're going to be a mixed multitude of us. A mixed multitude of us with a mixed mindset. Just like when they came out of Egypt. When they came out of Egypt, they came out of Egypt as a mixed multitude with different mindsets. Everybody had their own little beliefs, understanding, and ways. Which is why we see when Korah, if I think I got his name right, him and a group of men decided to come up against Moses. And the Most High opened up the ground and they got swallowed up. The Most High was like, whoever's on my side, come over here. And if you're not on my side, stand over there. And those who went over there went under. Same thing. It's a full circle. It's a full circle. The Most High ain't playing. He might call all of us out. He might call us all out and regather us all. It's an opportunity for us to get it right again. He is so merciful that he's given us opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to get it right. And we so stubborn, stiff-necked, and just unbelievable whack. We suck. We suck. We really freaking suck. And so in the midst of that, he said, okay, now I got to divide my people. And y'all going to get to see who is with me and who ain't. And that's going to be the last time you're going to see anybody who ain't on his side. This is going to be the last time. Right? So, usually I give you all the title. And I think I kind of forgot the title of this live. But understand this. Pastors, churches, ministers, preachers, bishops, evangelists, prophets, fake prophets. Oh my gracious. They've been lying to us, y'all. They've been lying to us using that verse about the tithe and the offering. Talking about we're robbing the Most High because we are withholding our tithes and our offering. And we don't even have, or they don't even have the understanding of what is really being said. And some of them really don't want to have an understanding of what's being said. They just want the money. They just want your money. Unfortunately, they just want your money. I'm not saying that that's all of them. I'm going to say it's most of them. Because as they have said numerous times, in order for a church to run, it takes resources. And those resources are monetary resources. It's money. They need the money to pay the light bill. They need the money to pay the water bill. They need the money to pay the rent, to pay the mortgage. They need the money to pay the pastor's salary. They need the money to pay for insurance. They need the money. At the end of the day, they need the money. But it has never been about money. It has never been about money. Tithes and offerings is not about money. What is the title of this video? I forgot. I really did. I forgot. But I know it had something to do with they took my money. They took my money. They took our money. Something like that. They saw us coming. It's something like that. Yeah, because I was a faithful tither. I still got my receipts. My yearly receipt to show you how much you spent. I gave them enough. Enough to sit up here and feel some kind of way about it. Yeah, I gave them enough to feel some kind of way about it. But I can't be mad at nobody but myself. Because I knew better. I should have known better. Either or. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed day.